Ooh, goodness, no.
In our last video about the DJI NEO, we discovered that it was quite afraid of the dark while flying with FPV goggles. Even if it flies in low light for just a few seconds, the NEO freaks out and thinks there's something scary chasing it, and accelerates wildly into something and goes crazy. But there's really nothing to be afraid of in the dark. Or is there? As many of you pointed out, DJI makes it very clear to fly in well-lit, textured environments. But the NEO doesn't always go crazy.
Fly in well-lit, textured environments.
Yeah. But the NEO doesn't always seem to freak out in the dark, so we're going to try out a few different situations, starting with the RC2. We're going to take off in the dark and see if it's flyable or if it just takes off and accelerates into the wall. So I can definitely feel that the NEO is drifting, but I feel like I can still control it. Even if I accelerate fast, it's not accelerating on its own. So this is very controllable. It's drifting a lot, but it's not taking over and just going wild and out of control. So flying with the RC2 makes the NEO capable of flying in the dark, even if it drifts a little bit. Next, I want to see if the NEO can follow me into the dark while I'm illuminated, but the drone is in complete darkness.
Close. Follow. 3, 2, 1.
All right, so it's got me in a well-lit area and it's following me. Let's see if I can lead it into the darkness while I'm still illuminated. All right, it can still see my face, but it is completely in the dark. And it seems to be tracking me. Oh, now it's landing. It's given up. It's drifting and landing. It's gonna crash. Oh goodness. So the NEO just seems to land when there's not enough light and you're tracking it without a remote. Let's try it again and strap a light to the bottom of the NEO and see if that does anything different. All right, so I've got the light strapped on and we're going to do the exact same thing. Seems to be struggling with the extra weight, but let me lead it back into the darkness while Kelly shines the flashlight in my face. And we'll see if it can keep up. So far, it's doing pretty well. Yeah, it's gotten a lot farther this time. I'm gonna turn and make sure it's still got me. Yeah, that's working. I'm gonna turn this way. Oh, it's drifting hard and it might crash. And well, I guess it wasn't quite bright enough. For this final test, let's try flying with the phone as the controller in a completely dark room. So I've never used these joysticks before, and I'm a little bit out of control, but it is still drifting normally. So if I just practice, I could definitely get better at this, but it is drifting gracefully. It's not going crazy and flying into the wall unless I make it. So yeah, this flies just like the RC2 in the dark. It just drifts around. Doesn't have any satellites, doesn't have any illumination. So I'm gonna go ahead and land. Well, there you have it. The NEO.
Well-lit, textured environments.
Okay, we get the point. So there you have it. The NEO doesn't like to fly in the dark, and if you're using a controller such as your phone or the RC2, you can fly in the dark, but it will drift a little bit. If you're using FPV goggles and you're flying in normal or sport mode, it will just accelerate like crazy and crash and be wild. So don't fly in the dark or don't go through small gaps when in normal or sport mode. If you're flying this in manual mode, you can fly in the dark because you're flying in manual mode. And if you're doing some auto tracking, it will not work in the dark, even with a light taped to the bottom of the NEO. I hope that video was helpful. Thanks for watching Ready Set Drone. See you next time.